And pardon the weird camera angle and the mess back here. I'm still figuring out this room, but I did want to jump over here and talk about Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. It's a game I was looking forward to despite things, and I have a lot to say about it. So what I do here is I come off the before you buy video I do on Game Ranks, where my approach is pretty methodical. I script a lot of it now. I break down all the game systems. Here I like to just yap. So think of this almost like a weird rambling podcast. That's if you're new here. If you've been around here, you get it. But I like that there's nuance here, specifically with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. I want to kind of cut through the weeds and cut through some of the mess because I think there's a lot of hyperbole out there, and I've seen a lot of people like claim it's the worst game ever made. And it's not. But it's still a game I don't really like. There's nuance to this, and this is why I'm excited to talk about this, because like even if it's a game I dislike, I love diving in and kind of breaking down why I don't like it, instead of just saying like it's trash, it sucks, because then it helps me realize what I like about other games or what I want from other games. So I'm not talking about some of the things I like in this game because like the game company paid me to make a good review or anything like that, but I just think it's an interesting conversation to cover all aspects and not just say it's bad just for the internet clout. Still, it's a game I didn't ultimately end up liking very much. I was disappointed, but I still can't help but finding like its hits and its big misses kind of interesting. If you go online and look clearly already, the conversation is very divisive, and I don't think it's necessarily just because everything is divisive online and people are like at each other's throats. It's really the game itself. The game itself has an identity crisis. The game itself feels like the design and the concepts, it's like square peg into a round hole. So you have some people liking some aspects of the game, hating others, and then sometimes it's reverse. And with me, how I fall is that I want to be totally upfront and honest, I found the combat and traversal a lot of fun. Actually really cool creative design, like the way Captain Boomerang zips around the environments. It's such a fun, satisfying teleporting mechanic, you know? Even Deadshot, like just Iron Manning around, was easy to control and kind of like fly away from enemies and jump back down. That stuff's really, really good. It feels tight, it feels responsive, it's interesting. But then it's the framework of everything else. It's the missions you're doing. It's like the one enemy faction that is so boring. And then it's like the games as a service style shit, really. Then on the story side, which is what I was the most excited for, it has the Rocksteady feel. It is a continuation of this universe. It has a lot of weird DC fan service moments and characters that pop up, and I absolutely love that. But I feel like the story overall as a whole was a complete waste of potential. I'm not going to spoil the story here. I'm going to save that for another video. I'm going to tiptoe around it. But just to go back, the games as a service thing, I want to address that because I tend to not like these games. I am, on the one hand, genetically predisposed to liking superhero comic book movie games. I love comics. But on the other hand, games as a service games usually don't get their hooks in me. A lot of times they feel forced. I like The Division. I understand why people like Destiny after all these years, but I think there's specific games that can fill that need. Warframe seems to be doing it right. I don't think every property needs to get turned into this endlessly playable thing, and you feel that the approach is somewhat different here with Suicide Squad, especially with what they're talking about with their plans for further content, but it's still just not what I'm into. And I think it ultimately hurt the actual design and structure and fun factor of the game, because you are kind of Sunset overdriving, Tony Hawking, zipping around, right? And it's got this good feel to it, especially in terms of skill. Like once you really figure out a character and you're moving and grooving around an environment or an arena, you know, zipping up in the air, coming back down, shooting enemies in midair, teleporting around, like it can feel really good, and it can feel like this is like its own unique thing. But then when it's bogged down by like endlessly telling you about all these systems that they added into the game, like crafting this, modifying this, a million different little collectible resources and shit that, to be honest, I played through the entire game, I don't know, what is it, like 9-10 hours? I almost completely ignored all of that stuff. Granted, a lot of those systems are going to tend, and a lot of other games too, tend to make more sense in the end game, but still, the game wasted so much time explaining all this shit to me. Oh, you're going to be able to collect this and craft this and make this, but now we have to find this person so that they can also craft you that and give you that. it just dragged down the experience for me, especially because behind all that, again, I want to emphasize like the raw fun factor. There is actually that fun factor there. The running and gunning and shooting is pretty cool, and it is cool with friends, but it needs a lot more. It needs more than like one enemy faction with like a couple of different types. It needs so many more missions. You're just kind of protecting point A, B, and C, or escorting cars the entire game, side missions and not. I mean, there's some diversions towards the very end, but yeah, that's like all you're doing. So I need more. And I don't expect more like, a year from now in a battle pass. I paid a lot of money for this game up front. I paid even more with the special collector's edition. That's a whole other can of worms. And the fact that the game is always online and I was able to play it single player, but like if I lost internet connection, would I just be screwed? So that is the one thing. I played through it completely solo, and I like that. The heroes did their own thing. They fought with me, they flew around with me, but I didn't have to babysit them. It just kind of worked. So props to them. Playing through it solo was nice. I was able to get the entire experience, but this is still clearly a game built for people playing with their friends. And there is some fun there. But then there's all the design of it to keep you endlessly playing with your friends. So you see, I keep coming back around to that, even in terms of like some cool DC characters that are introduced with new Rocksteady spins on them, right? Most of them are relegated to being a glorified vendor back at the home base that then can modify your weapons. If you spend this little currency, or if you collect this fucking thing from grinding this mission, then you can do this and add this to your character. And then even leveling up, I didn't really find the skill tree very exciting. And the skill tree is very clearly designed to go way beyond the main story. It's pretty long. It takes a while to work through, or at least it did for me. And then with the story, again, without spoiling it, I'm going to save that for a separate video. But in terms of presentation and everything going on, it's right there. It's Rocksteady. The music is incredible. The characters look great. Specifically, some of the facial expressions. I actually found some of the jokes funny, and I actually thought there were some funny moments in the game, specifically thanks to incredibly realistic facial expressions. Some of the characters, like, faces moved and made expressions that I haven't seen in a lot of games before, and they really helped sell comedy bits. And it made me laugh. So like it has that. It has the music. It has this incredible metropolis they built out. Like you stand on a roof in this game and look out over, a Brainiac war-torn metropolis, and you're like, holy shit. The variation, the skyscrapers, the creativity, and the fact that this invasion happened on like Justice League Celebration Day. So essentially the whole city was geared for a big parade celebration of the famous heroes. Iconography, parade floats, balloons of the Justice League everywhere. Really creative idea. So the Rocksteady spark is still there. And the story has some good, memorable fan service moments. A couple of really cool moments. But my biggest thing is that it just feels like wasted potential. And I might be repeating myself a little bit from the Before You Buy video, but for me, it was the concept of kill the Justice League. It didn't capitalize on that at all. I feel like that was totally wasted potential. It's a big swing, that's a big thing to go for. And it could have been incredible, but it comes down to the story impact and of course how you do it in game. And I think on both of those aspects, it failed. And in the Before You Buy video, I did compare it to Gotham Knights, where Gotham Knights' whole big pitch was like a world without Batman. Batman's dead. What's the Bat family going to do? And then kind of squandered that as a storytelling potential. Here, same thing. I will say I like this game a lot more than Gotham Knights overall. Like I also want to put that out there, because Gotham Knights didn't even have like in the gameplay department any fun factor. At least that was less games as a service, but yeah, I'm getting off track. Really, it was the wasted potential of the concept of killing the Justice League, because it felt like it didn't really know what it wanted to do from a story perspective with it, which again, can't really go into too much with that. But then the two main things, twofold for me, is like wasted potential because number one, it's Rocksteady's next foray into the DC world. What's happening next? I feel like it didn't really move the needle enough there, and it was just kind of all over the place. But also number two, squandering the potential of Rocksteady's Justice League. Now, I don't know what the future plans are. I can only speak for like what I've played. And they did do a pretty good job building out a Justice League. This feels like what you would imagine like playing a Rocksteady game and playing an Arkham game, what the Justice League would be like. They've got a Jon Stewart Green Lantern. They've got Superman. They do a good job with these characters. The voice acting, the way they look, it's there, but they're barely around and nothing happens. So it's like there's no real impact to any of it all. Also, I want to put this out there too. I am all for killing the Justice League. I think it's a good idea. I'm totally down to kill the Justice League. I'm down to do anything in weird comic book mishmashy, what if, changing stories and lore and anything, if it services a good story, if it's in service of telling a cool story or a memorable, fun adventure. And I didn't get that here. So if you can tell in my voice, like it's the disappointment. That's the thing that bums me out the most, but also I don't like it very much. But I think if you're a fan of these things, you should play through it at some point. Maybe not for full price, probably not for full price. But as much as like I put my opinions out here for this stuff, I am a big fan of people like judging for themselves, you know? Always read multiple reviews or watch multiple people because we're all over the place. And again, Suicide Squad in particular is very divisive. I have friends that are enjoying it. And you know what? I'm like, okay, cool, man. You do you. I am not going to yuck anybody's yum. That's the phrase, right? There was just a lot that was lost in translation. Some areas that I felt like the ball totally dropped, and it doesn't feel like it was worth the however many years long wait. They've been working on this game for a long time, but I could very clearly, by playing, tell where there were instances where they had to change things or cut corners or shorten things. And that's a shame. Still, I think some people are going to eat it up. Like they're going to buy into it no matter what, or at least just like buy it to see what the deal is. And I think the game is still going to have success. It's got like TV ads and shit like that. So I'm curious to see where it does go. So I had fun just getting through it, but not enough to where I want to jump in every couple of weeks, couple of months to see what they've added. I'm more like I'll jump back in a year or two and see what's changed or what's added. And ultimately, being kind of hard on it, I am because I love it. I am very passionate about this type of thing. Rocksteady games really, again, like DC, especially like weirdo DC comic shit. Like I am about that. So I am hard on it, but I also am very happy to be proven wrong. I love looking back at videos where I am totally wrong. I would love for them to do something that changes things and swings public sentiment around, and then they add cool shit to the game and it has a long, long life. Even if I disagree with the business model or whatever, if it ultimately ends up being a good thing that people play through and enjoy, I'd be happy to be wrong. Maybe this is, again, like we don't know what they're going to do story-wise or lore-wise moving forward, but if they make some, moves, this could still move things forward. I'm like contradicting myself, talking all over the place. Maybe I'm just coping because I was really hoping the game would be better. I don't know. It might not sound from all my complaining, but what I am trying to get out here is, make up your own mind about it. Don't run with the craziness because there is some fun to be had. There is fun there. I know you're like, Jake, you just told me all the things that are bad. That's it. I just wanted to talk. But I am really excited to dive into the story stuff because there's Amanda Waller to talk about, who we knew she was in it from. I mean, it's Suicide Squad. You knew Amanda Waller was in the game. And Batman. We got to talk about Batman. So I'm really excited to talk about all that other stuff in a separate video. Have that in a couple of days. I'll link it in the description down here once it is up. But yeah, thank you for listening to me yap here for so long. I appreciate it. There's a lot of Suicide Squad videos of people being like, uh-oh, it sucks. So thanks for clicking on mine. Let me know what you think of the game. There's a good conversation to be had here. Your favorite Justice League person, even though they were all evil Brainiac versions. Who did you like? And also from the Suicide Squad, I really like this Captain Boomerang. I thought some of the writing was a little obnoxious, but I really liked the voice actor and the presentation. I don't know. So let me know who your favorite character was, who you're playing as, if you're playing. If you just hate it all, let's talk constructively about this stuff down in the comments. Thank you guys for listening to me yap about this. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games, pizza's on me.